So fives are something that third graders typically know really well, along with their tens, which is really great. But if we're trying to get our kids thinking a little more strategically, then we want them to think about the relationship between the numbers, not just memorize stuff. So although it's really cool that we have students who know 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on and so forth, we really want them to see those connections because that's where it gets way more fun. For example, multiplying by 5s really makes me think a lot about multiplying by 10s. They're super well connected, like this. And we can see here some ways that they're connected, like we'll see some numbers that pop up again and again, like 10, 20, 30, and the pattern would keep on going. So it's cool to see how they are connected. Another big thing with 5s and 10s is how they're connected with what we call the associative property, which is a really fun way of just thinking about how 10 is really just 2 times 5, and how we can play around with this relationship to make other problems easier. For example, a lot of third graders typically know 10 times 8, 80. Again, we can think of 10 as actually being 2 times 5 times 8, 80. What this helps us understand is that knowing 10 times 8 can help us solve 5 times 8. It's just twice as much. Another way of thinking about that is 5 times 8 is half of 10 times 8. So half of 80 is 40. Now that might seem kind of silly when we're doing something smaller like 5 times 8, but what if we get into something like 5 times 18? Do 10 times 18 first. A lot of students will know it's 180. Knowing this relationship here, 5 is half of 10 here, will help me understand 5 times 18 would just be half of 180. And a lot of times kids know half of things like that, or we should practice with them. Half of 180 is 90. So I know 5 times 18 is 90. But let's get even crazier, 5 times 42. Now there's a bunch of different ways I might solve that, but we could do this relationship where we know that 10 is twice 5, or 5 is half of 10. So 10 times 42, 420. 5 times 42 then would be half of 420, which is 210. But really, even if we just focus on some of these relationships between the two numbers, that can help us a lot too. We start to notice this pattern. And the big thing here with 5s and 10s again is just making sure that we help students understand the relationship between these two multiplication fact families.